So Woody,
how's it going, man?
how do you see things falling into place for yourself? Because in my mind, there's two options to look at things falling into place. Either it's a snowball effect or it's a domino effect. Which one do you see? Do you see it as a snowball, or do you see it as a domino? Every choice you make, the other one is affected by it, and choices lead to the next choices. And I don't see any optimism there for either of those models.
It's a very pragmatic approach that this situation or this decision will render this effect, or so on and so forth.
That's a domino?
No, I think that the domino effect is a little bit too like destiny kind of visual for me, that the dominoes are already set up. Like, to me, a falling domino always represents a decline. Whereas, strangely enough, a snowball getting bigger as it declines is actually a growth to me.
And then eventually the snowball turns into an avalanche.
Yeah, exactly. Or it's achieved its goal of going from the highest point to the lowest point, and now is at its lowest point.
And it's a big snowball
and its biggest size. And its biggest size. I like that analogy more than the dominoes falling, because it seems like to me you would build this huge thing up, and this big intricate domino course, or what's the other one too when you add the other elements into it too, like a ball that hits a tin that swings around.
It's Rube Goldberg.
Yeah, Rube Goldberg. Yeah, exactly. So the same kind of thing where you've built up this device that is going to be that is going to fall.
And then different types of energy sources you use. So walk people through of Rube Goldberg, what it would look like. Have you ever built one? Have you ever built a Rube Goldberg?
I can't. I mean, maybe in elementary school or something like that. But I can't say I've ever done a really super intense one. Done lots of dominoes.
Yeah,
and definitely thrown lots of rocks down mountains in an attempt to create some kind of avalanche. But yeah, the Rube Goldberg is so you've got a golf ball that goes through a pipe that hits a can, that hits a set of dominoes, and then the dominoes spread out and knock over some water that lands into a funnel that goes down the funnel through into a series of pipes that pushes a turbine that spins a wheel, and so on and so forth.
And the goal within it is to use as many different types of energy sources to propel the movement forward. So a candle, maybe some wind aspect, some magnetic force, try and get through all the different types of forces. I think there's about 7 forces that you can choose from. This is the thing, because when I framed it to you and I asked you, how do you see things falling into place? But already using the gravity force of falling, already our minds start to, compute that, let's say, as being negative.
The fall.
Is there a different way to ask that question? How are things going? Right? Things are propelling along.
How about what's up?
What's up? Yeah, exactly. This is the best podcast ever. This is how far we've gone in the conversation.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up?
Complex science terminology and plays of force to common turns of phrase.
Well, it's the same thing with, saying someone's cool, right? There's so much going on there, or saying someone's hot.
Yeah, hot. That's a good one.
I'll come in here.
Jump in there.
What to you makes someone beautiful? Your view is, and my view is shared with our culture when it comes to something being hot or not or whatever. But I want to talk about beautiful. So let's talk about all the different things that fall into place that makes a beautiful moment. Despite a person, let's just say you're looking at the mountains, right? And you've seen them every day, But for some reason, things just fell into place that day where you needed to see the mountains shining with that beautiful sunset, right? Mm-hmm. Things falling into place seems to be pleasant, right?
Yeah. It maybe because there's like an attitude of, finally, after all this time and effort that I've put into something, it's now became beautiful out of and struck me in a way that I would find spontaneous.
You know what I see? I see this type of art. It's a Japanese art where they take broken pottery and use gold adhesive paint, glue, to bring focus to the broken pieces. So when they put the vase back together, let's say it's a vase, the cracks are the most beautiful.
Right, it highlights the
imperfections.
Yeah.
And so that might be a Woody from the future that we'll need, and what it's called
Future Wood.
Instead of me using my minimal understanding of this art form, let's ask my artist friend Nick, who actually lives in Japan.
So, Kintsugi translates to golden joinery, which is the art of fusing broken pottery back together with lacquer adhesive mixed with gold dust or silver or platinum. It is the beauty of highlighting the broken things and embracing the perfections in all forms of artwork and in life. For other imperfect and bizarre artwork, check out my Instagram at the March Hare Workshop.
Thanks, Nick from the future, and also from across the world.
So the idea of beauty and imperfection, beauty and the brokenness kind of idea, things falling into place, like you said, all these ups and downs and all of this stuff led to this moment where everything just fell into place. And I was able to see beauty in my broken life, broken situation. Things falling into place is that one piece, the last piece of that vase.
I feel like if you've gotten to a place where you can look at your situation inside of its kind of demise and see it for its beautiful cracks, then I think you've gotten to a place where you could find beauty in a lot of misery. Instead of, because the otherwise would be, in my life, I feel like my strength has left me at certain times when I felt hopeless.
Right.
And maybe I felt hopeless because I wasn't strong enough, or maybe I had made a wrong decision and was dwelling on it. Whereas because of those experiences, because of the times that I didn't feel like I was going to be able to get through it, I can actually now look at a situation that is terrible and find beauty in it. So it was only out of that struggle that I was ever able to know that things will change and things will always get better, and and that nothing is permanent, and that's what's so beautiful about it.
And what is inevitable with life is you will experience a new beginning when you adopt that mindset. That is not dominoes. That is not a snowball. It's not all these things. It's about completeness.
Yeah, it's not absolute. It doesn't start or end. I think that is completion. I think the completed part is I am what I am, and I am not permanent. And you could be comfortable in that. If you can be comfortable in that, that's it to me.
And when you look at yourself making art now, writing a song, and going, I am intentional with where I choose to put imperfection. You know what I mean? I'm allowing this to ring through, because there is something to be said about something when its potential is in its incompleteness or something like that.
Yeah. because it is incomplete. Like there isn't really a time, like even if you are able to achieve this spot of completeness, which the only reason that I feel you'd be able to get to that point is because you understand the chaotic nature of life, and that in our human mind, there's a start and a finish because our lives start and end basically out of our control. But that to me is the only real reason that I would ever be like, well, okay, that's over. And now it's time to start something new. Well, no, that piece is still there. And it just becomes now injected into the greater whole of this already completed idea of circles of like your memories and your creativity and your connection to people of the past.
Right. And how you're carrying that story forward. You and I are the frontiers of the human project. You know, we're standing right on the border of that.
I like the frontier. I knew you wanted to use frontier again there.
Yeah.
I like frontier though.
Yeah. Yeah. And how to see that. And I feel what we give or what our value is as podcasters is providing people with another lens to see things that perhaps you've overlooked and challenging things that you say or do and finding meaning beyond the words kind of, right?
Yeah, I think there's just as much value in challenging your situation as it is to enter a situation and expect to be challenged. You know, I certainly don't seek out things where I'm like, well, that was easy. And if it's easy, then it doesn't have as much significance to me.
Yeah. And there is a level of difficulty based off of your ability that makes things full of joy and full of that it factor. You know what I mean? There's so much going on when you're in your element and when you're in your flow that I think that's the place to be. You know what, man? I think this is a great way to, cap the conversation.
You ready to land the plane?
Yeah, I'm ready to land it, and ready to wish our audience as well is that I hope things fall into place for you. But remind yourself that you're not really needing to find that complete thing you're looking for. Maybe what you need to do is take a look around and see that things have fallen into place. Maybe 10 years from now, looking back, going, you know what? I could look back at this moment and see things that I could be grateful for.
Well, I'd also, just like to touch on that too and say that instead of thinking, that things are already in place, that all of those pieces are already present. And maybe you've got some extra pieces and you're like, oh, okay, like I'm good for now. That looks strong. I'll just hold these pieces on for later. Everything's already in place that you need. It's just figuring out how to put them together and what spare parts you're just going to keep for spare parts at that time.
Mm-hmm. And hold on to that beautiful pearl. All right, buddy. See you later. And to our listeners, bon voyage. Until next time.